is it pulling up though? It is live, right?
Yeah, it's live.
Why are we not?
Yeah, pulling up.
Let me double check. It is not. Let's see. Nah, it's not. It's not pulling up. Yeah, no.
Yes, sir. Maybe something that happened when we ended it. No, I see it right here.
You see it now? Okay.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Testing. Okay, there we go.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Oh yeah.
Okay. Testing.
Yeah, your mic is cool.
Okay. Slack Israel. Is it on? I just didn't see it on YouTube, but
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
I was on. Okay, cool. All right, Shalom Yahweh Yahushai Barakatah to the brothers. Shalom Yahushua Alatah Hashem Yahushai to the sisters. This is the ISUPK Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. I'm Priest and Officer Itazam. This is Priest and Officer Natazak. As you already know, this is the Sabbath service, and just so we're clear that we are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Today, as you all probably know, well, not today. I think it's tomorrow. Actually, today's what, the 30th?
Yeah, I think it's tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, so like I don't keep up with that stuff, but for anybody that's in the world, probably know what holiday is coming up. Halloween. You're gonna be hearing a lot about Halloween. The reason why we're talking about this specifically today is this is just another example of one of the things that you should not follow if you are a so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian or an Israelite according to the Bible, because you are one of the Lord's chosen people. Now, we're going to go into a few things we went over in the past of, not celebrating pagan holidays, because that's actually against what the Most High actually wants for us. There are high holy days, though, high holy days that we as Israelites follow for the Most High, but not holidays. I mean, where do you think Esau got it from anyway? High holy day, holiday, they got it from us. But we're gonna begin to get into Halloween mostly. We'll talk about some other things also, and why you should not celebrate Halloween. And we're gonna get a little bit into the history of Halloween also. So give everybody just a quick second to tune in. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. It will be very much appreciated. We're going to be getting into the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 37. For those of y'all who don't know already, it's common tradition for the Sabbath service. Whenever we read the first book, we read the first 7 verses in Hebrew, and then we go over them in the English. And then we give the breakdown. So it's going to be the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 37. That's what we'll be starting with today. Let's give everybody just a quick second, and then we'll be getting started with the Lord's prayers. If sisters, just remember to have your heads covered. Brothers, remember to have your heads uncovered. If you didn't know already.
Hey, Shalom, Adawan.
Who's that?
Adawan.
Shalom, Lord Christ, Adawan. Got Priest and Officer Shabal 5,000 from Vegas in the building.
Right.
Holding it down.
Hey, Shalom, Lord Christ, Halak. What's going on, man?
Shalom, Lord Christ, what's going on? All right, I don't want to take too long, so
yeah.
Let's
keep it logging in right now.
Yeah.
So Leviticus 23.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 37. That's where we started.
No, I don't know. Well, yeah, I do that. Man, that's an ancient Hebrew one too, man.
Hey, it's all good.
I would have killed that one too. I'm gonna try to get through this one like swiftly.
Yeah, for any brothers and sisters out there, please remember to practice your Hebrew. You know, that was our original language, if you didn't know. So the brother next to me, as always, is going to be reading it in the Hebrew. We actually have the Assyrian right now,
Yeah.
but he'll be translating it into the Hebrew.
Cursive.
And it is not easy. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I was going to go letter for letter. Back. Okay.
All right, so we'll be getting started with the Lord's Prayer. Oh, Slaga, my fault. We'll be getting started with the Lord's prayers. So with that, Amijam, just me and the brother up here.
La Yasharala,
which means to Israel in the Hebrew. Sorry, it's me. Sorry. All right, Amadim upon Yahakwadam, which means to rise and face the east. We're going to be getting started with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. This is the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat
Shemayim,
Kodash,
Hayah,
Shemka,
Yahweh, Malakutah, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Latanyanawa, Hakam, Call, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabawatnawa, Kabawatinawa, Wala'ah, Tabayanawa, Wadasawan, Gabal, Hawashanawa, Wayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wala'ala, Ratapara, Alonium, Aman. It's like it. The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh. Thy kingdom come. That will be done. In earth. As it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it.
Hakak, which is the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai,
Babakashah, Latanyanawa, Hakat, Larapa'ah, Call, Makala, Wakal, Madawa, Hakat, Latahar, Ha, Matazariah, Hakat, Lahaquayim, Hamathian, Hakat, Io, Lakara, Hatama'ala, Lagarasham, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Gawada, Aman. Hakak, the power in the English. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushai. Please. Give us the power.
Give us the power.
The power to heal.
The power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
And all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse lepers.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean spirits.
To cast them out.
To cast them out.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. This is the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahushua.
Wa Yahushua.
Wa Mayaka'ala.
Wa Mayaka'ala.
Wa Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim.
Matazab Ya'ab.
Matazab Ya'ab.
Alawap Yahana.
Alawap Yahana.
Ha Alawapim.
Ha Alawapim.
Ha Sarunyim.
Ha Sarunyim.
Ha Kwatazayoyim.
Ha Kwatazayoyim.
Ha Kayayoyim.
Ha Kayayoyim.
Wa Ha'akwathim.
Wa Akwathim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
The water.
The water.
Amun.
Amun. The blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahushua.
And Yahushua.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding General Yohana.
Commanding General Yohana.
The generals.
The generals.
The captains.
The captains.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. This is Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah.
Asha'ah.
Ayunya.
Ayunya.
All. Ahoyim.
Ahayim.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Gaba'ah.
Gaba'ah.
Izoya.
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 Ma'aim.
Ma'aim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Shemayim.
Shemayim.
Wa'aratza.
Wa'aratza.
All.
Yadun.
Yadun. Mamawat.
Mamawat.
Galka.
Galka.
All. Yanawam.
Yanawam.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Ana.
Ana.
La'ah.
La'ah.
Yanawam.
Yanawam.
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah.
Yashun.
Yashun.
Shawamar.
Shawamar.
Yasharala.
Yasharala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Tzalka.
Tzalka.
Yad.
Ayad.
Yimyimka.
Yimka.
Yamamam.
Yamam.
Hashamash.
Hashamash.
La'ah.
La'ah.
Yakaka.
Yakaka.
Wayarah. Malayala.
Malala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamarka.
Yashamarka.
Makol.
Yakol.
Rai.
Rai.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Athnapashka.
Agnapashka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Taza'afka.
Taza'afka.
Wa'afka.
Wa'afka.
Ma'ida.
Ma'ida.
Wa'ai.
Ma'ai.
I will love.
I will learn. Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
I will lift up my eyes into the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from the Lord.
My help cometh from the Lord.
Which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee.
He that keepeth thee.
Will not slumber.
Will not slumber.
Behold.
Behold.
He that keepeth Israel.
He that keepeth Israel.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade.
The Lord is thy shade.
Upon thy right hand.
Upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
Nor the moon by night.
Nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee.
The Lord shall preserve thee.
From all evil.
All evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out.
And thy coming in.
And thy coming in.
From this time forth.
From this time forth.
And even forevermore.
Even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim.
Alahayim.
All. Damaya.
Damaya.
Laka.
Laka.
All. Dakarash.
Dakarash.
Wa'all. Tashakwat.
Tashakwat.
All. Kaya.
Kaya.
Hana.
Hana.
Awayebika.
Yebika.
Yahama.
Yahama.
Yawan.
Yawan.
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash.
I'll.
I'll.
Amaka.
Amaka.
Ya'imwa.
Ya'imwa.
Sawada.
Sawada.
Wa'ita.
Wa'ita.
Yatazawa.
Yatazawa.
I'll.
Tazapawanyika.
Amarwa.
Amarwa.
Lakawa.
Lakawa.
Manakakidam.
Manakakinam.
Magoya.
Magoya.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yazakar.
Yazakar.
Shum.
Shum.
Yasharala.
Yasharala.
Awada.
Awada.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Natazawa.
Natazawa.
Laba.
Laba.
Yakadwa.
Yakadwa.
Aldika.
Alika.
Barya.
Barayat.
Yakarathwa.
Yakarathwa.
Ahoya.
Ahaya.
Adawam.
Adawam.
Wa.
Wa.
Yashamai.
Yashamai.
Alayam.
Alayam.
Mawa'aba.
Abba.
Wahagorium.
Wahagorium.
Gabal.
Gabal.
Wayamawan.
Wayawan.
Wamalak.
Wamalak.
Halashah.
Halashah.
Amishabia.
Abiyashabia.
Tazawar.
Tazawar.
Gum.
Gum.
Ashawar.
Ashawar.
Nalawa.
Narawa.
Aimum.
Aimun.
Hayawa.
Hawa.
Zarawai.
Zarawai.
Labunya.
Labunya.
Lawat.
Lawat.
Salah.
Salah.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Lahum.
Lahum.
Kamadyam.
Kamadyam.
Kasaya.
Kasaya.
Sara'ah.
Sara'ah.
Kayabyam.
Kayabyam.
Banakol.
Banakol.
Koyashwan.
Kayashwan.
Shabnawa.
Yashabiwan.
Bayan.
Bayan.
Dara.
Darawa.
Hayawa.
Hawa.
Dama.
Dama.
La'ah.
La'a.
Dama.
Dama.
Shayatamwa.
Shayatamwa.
Nada.
Nada.
Yamawa.
Yamawa.
Kairab.
Kairab.
Wakaza Abba.
Wakaza Abba.
Wakaza Bak.
Wakaza Ba.
Wakatazor.
Wakatazor.
Manai.
Manai.
Call.
Call.
Nasa Yakam.
Nasa Yakima.
Ashar.
Ashar.
Amarwa.
Amarwa.
Nayarasha.
Narasha.
Lanawa.
Nawa.
Af.
Af.
Nawa.
Nawa.
Alahaya.
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 Shayatamwa.
Shaitamwa.
Kagogala.
Kagogala.
Kakwash.
Kakwash.
Lapunya.
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 Rawaka'a.
Ka'ash.
Ka'ash.
Kaba'ira. Ya'ira. Wa. Kalahaba. Talahat. Kaharian. Kun. Taradapma. Basa'iraka. Wabasa. Lapafka. Kabahalam. Mala'ah. Paniham. Palawan. Waya. Bakwashwa. Shamka. Yahweh. Yabashwa. Waya. Bahalwa. Ayai. Waya. Deparwa. Waya. Abadwa. Waya. Daiwa. Kaya. Atha. Shamka. Yahweh. Yabaka. Ayawam. Al. Call. Haratzah. Psalms 83 in the English. Select it. Keep not thy silence, O God. Keep not thy silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
O
God.
O God.
For lo.
Thine
enemies make a tumult.
And they
that hate thee. Have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel. Against thy people. And consulted. Against thy hidden one. They have said. Come. And let us cut them off. From being a nation. That the name of Israel. May be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together. With one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom. And the Ishmaelites. Of Moab. And the Hagarenes. Gabal. And Ammon. And Amalek. The Philistines. And with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them. As unto the Midianites. As to Sisera. As to Jabin. At the brook of Kasam. Which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb. And like Zaid. Yea. All their princes as Zabad. And as Zalmunna. Who said, Let us take to ourselves. The houses of God in possession. Oh my God. Make them like a wheel. As a stubble before the wind. As a fire burneth the wood. And as a flame set the mountains on fire. So persecute them. With thy tempest. And make them afraid. With thy storm. Fill their faces with shame. That they may seek thy name. O Lord. Let them be confounded. And trouble. Forever. Yea. Let them be put to shame. And perish. That men may know. That thou. Whose name alone. Is Yahweh. Art the most high. Over all the earth.
Bottom of this part.
Oh, Salaki. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right, let's clap it up for the Most High. All right, we're going to be starting out of the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 37. I'm not going to give it entirely away, but we're going to be going over a little bit of the high holy days, right? That we as the nation of Israel, that we practice for the Most High. Now, these are lawful right here, right? Not holidays, though. Not holidays, high holy days in the Bible. Now, we're going to read some of it in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 37.
You said 27?
Verse Salakia. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 37.
Okay. Okay, I got it. The book of Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 37 in the Hebrew. Alaha Mawai Daya Yahawaha Ashawa Wata Kwa Awa, Atham, Ra'aya, Quadash, Laha, right. It's like it. Yad, Ashaha, La, Layaha, Waha, Ilaha, Wamana, Kwaha, Zabaka, Wanasa Kayam, Daba Raya Wam, Baya Wamawa, Mala Bara, Shabachata, or Slaki, Shabatata, Waha, Wamala Bada, Mata Nawata it's like a Yakam, Wamala Wamala Bada, Kalana it's like it. Kalana Raya come. Wamala Bada, Kalayana Daba wa Thaya come. Ashara Taban wa Layaha Waha Ara, or so like it. Ak Bacha Mashaha Ashara Yayum Lacha Dasha Hashabaya I ya Baasa pa come. Ataya Taba wa I ath. Ha'ara Rataza Ha'ataza Dacha Gawa Ata Chaga Yaha Waha Shaba Aita Yama Wam Baya Wam Hara Asha Hara Asha Waza Shabatawaza. Wabayawam. It's like I'm over here reading the same sentence. Wala khwa khatam lakam bayawam hara asham hara asha shawaza para ya iza. So like it. Para ya iza. Where did I start from? I started from 32.
You started from 37.
37? Okay. Okay. All right. Wala khwa khatham lakam bayawam hara shawaza para ya itaza hadara kapata tamara rayam wa I napa I taza ya I bata wa I raba ya nachala yashama tam lapa yahawaha Allah ya kam shaba I ta yamayam wacha ga da tam atawa ta ga laya ha waha shaka aita yamayam kasha naha khwata I will lada rataya come bata dash hasha baaya taha gawa ataya atawa basa kata dasha bawa shaba aita yanayam bala ha za raka bayash ra'ala bayash ra'ala yasha bawa basa kath lama iza ya da I wa dara tawa ka da ra it's like it Dara Darataya come. What verse? I'm going to 44, right?
43. That's it.
Okay. All right. Let me finish it off real quick. Kaya basa kawata hawasha bataya ataya banaya yashara'ala baha taza iwa awatam ma'a rataza ma'ai rayam anaya yahawaha Allah ya come.
That's it. All right, let's grab it up. All right, so we're going to be starting from the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 37 in the English. So this is verse 37. These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering, and a meat offering, a sacrifice, and drink offerings, everything upon his day. Verse 38. Beside the Sabbaths of the Lord, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings, which ye give unto the Lord. Verse 39. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. So, quick recap real quick. The reason why we're reading out of the book of Leviticus right now, chapter 23, is because you read in here, you're going to learn a lot about the high holy days that we have. You know, the Day of Atonement, was it Feast of Unleavened Bread? Is it Feast of Unleavened Bread? No, Slocky.
No, you got
Feast of Unleavened Bread. What else? Oh, it's a little too early to talk about it too much right now, but Passover, but I'll leave that one alone. Once we get a little closer to that, we'll go into the history of the Passover and why we call it the Passover, but that's for another class. So these are our Israel high holy days for the Lord. These are lawful. Just so we're clear. These are lawful right here. High holy days, not holidays. And we're going to be talking about differentiation between the two. So we're going to continue in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 40. And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees and willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute. Key word, statute. You hear us talk about this a lot. We say keep the laws, statutes, and commandments for the Most High. So this is a statute. So we're going to start from verse 41 again. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever. Forever.
Like if I may too.
Go ahead.
We're on Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 41.
Right.
So I mean the sister was asking.
Oh, Salaki.
What verse we on? So
Salaki.
Leviticus 23 and 41 right now. Salaki.
Right. So I'll go through verse 41 one more time. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 41. And we're talking about the high holy days and the statutes, laws, statutes, and commandments that we keep for the Most High. So in verse 41, it says, and ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever. Slack it. in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Verse 42. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites, key word right here, right? Israelites born shall dwell in booths. Now, this is very important right here, right? The high holy days are only for Israelites. So if anybody want to, I know there's going to be some heathens out there or some brothers and sisters in the world that might ask like, okay, well, can heathens celebrate high holy days? What about Moab or good night, Esau, or who else? Ham or Amalek or Moab or the Philistines, right? So just so we're clear right here in verse 42, this is the book of Leviticus chapter 23, verse 42. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths. It's the last verse. Verse 43. That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel. I hate to beat a dead horse, but we got to emphasize this every single time. Salakia. Just anybody that's watching, I know it gets redundant sometimes. Salakia in advance, but we're going to keep doing this because we need to be properly educated on what our history is. Because the thing is, when you go out into the world, people love to say that, oh, the ISUPK is a religion. No, it's not a religion. Because we've been taught ever since we were children that the Bible is Christianity, that it's a religion. Christianity is a religion. It's a false-ass religion, Salakia for my language. Islam, all that other stuff, those are religions. They're fake. It's make-believe. It's a fairy tale. You ever read books, you see how they have the non-fiction and the fiction section? Well, correct me if I'm wrong, non-fiction, that's real. Those are facts, right? Then you got fiction. Those are your fairy tales, all that stuff. Like, I was, one of my favorite books was like the Harry Potter series. I read all of them, right? It's fiction. It's make-believe. It doesn't exist, all right? It was made up through somebody's head, and they just, was it J.K. Rowling, just do, whatever, that it's made up. That's my whole point. The ISUPK is not the home of religion. It's the home of the truth. There's a reason why we say that. It's not just to sound cool. It's not what it is. You get my point? So it says right here, I mean, you can read all throughout the Bible, man. This, clarify something. This and this is Israelite culture. This is our history. These are our records. This isn't made up. Jesus, Yahushua is real. Moses was real. Aaron was real. King David, King Solomon, I don't really like talking about them too much, but King Saul, they're real. These are real men of the Lord, brothers, Black, Hispanic, Native Indian men. You get my point? So, I just want to clarify that because there's going to be people out there who's going to try to tell you otherwise, but not to get too off topic.
Oh, yeah.
So, we'll finish it up. Verse 43. That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths. When I brought them out of the land of Egypt, we were in Egypt, again, history. I am the Lord your God. Now, why are we going over a high holy day, right? Isn't tomorrow Halloween? Or what was it called before? Hallows Eve, or whatever it was called, right? So the reason why we're going over this is the first part we want to do is educate our brothers and sisters of just one of the high holy days that we were told to keep. Statutes, right? These are the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High gave to us, and we are to follow them. That is an order. I know it's a little, we still got some time before Passover, but Passover, it's not like, okay, a pagan holiday where, like some people celebrate Christmas and some people don't. No, these are our statutes. Unless you got I don't even want to say unless you got a valid reason. It shouldn't even be a valid reason. Unless like something like extreme happened, you go to Passover. And why wouldn't you want to go to Passover, right? It's a beautiful thing to dwell amongst the Akim and Akwathium, which is brothers and sisters in the Hebrew, right? To dwell amongst like-minded men and women that are of your nation, and you don't got to worry about all the worldly affairs that are going on around you, because it's just you and your nation. Now, the reason why we're going over this is because, again, Halloween, which is an oppressor's holiday. Now, because we're not just gonna read from here. We're gonna give a little history lesson on the origins of Halloween. Now, before I read into it, I know there were some things that you wanted to go over. Not just like you want to go over some things first.
You want me to go over Halloween?
I was gonna read the history of Halloween.
Oh yeah, okay.
But I know. So you want to wait until
after? I'll just go over what the priest is talking about, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so what we went over was, the high holy days for the Most High. We have to make this separation between what the Bible is and what people want the Bible to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The Christian church made Halloween. The Christian church wanted you to celebrate a Roman doctrine. You know what I'm saying? They put that out there for a reason. The Christian church wants you to be distracted regardless.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they brought out Halloween, and they wanted Halloween to be a custom within the nation of all these people. Now we have to figure out, and we have to know that we are at war. Halloween is an act of war. Every time that you come out, that you go out and you let your kids dress up and, like, put on the whole little
costume.
Yeah, the visual of Halloween, like
right.
Costumes, going out walking for candy and stuff like that. Like, you got to understand, like, you are participating in an act of war. God hates Halloween.
Right.
And honestly, like, you would hear that in the Christian churches too, but God really hates Halloween.
Right.
We're going to get into why he really hates Halloween. It's not because you're dressing up like a freaking a murderer or a ghoul or a villain. God hates Halloween for a specific reason. And we're going to actually get into the reason of why God hates Halloween. We're not just going to tell you, oh, God hates Halloween because you're dressed up like a demon.
Right.
Or like Satan. We're not going to just tell you that. We're going to get into the background of why God really hates Halloween.
Right.
There's a reason for it. You know what I mean? Like, everything that we're about to get into is literally biblical. Like, the Lord made laws for certain things like this. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He made laws for things like this. So we're gonna get into that. I don't want to speak too much because it's just like we haven't really got into it yet. But once we get into it, then I'll recap.
Right.
But so right now we're gonna get into why the Most High does what the Most High put down as far as why he hates Halloween.
Right.
That's what we're gonna get to.
Okay, so right now I'm gonna be reading the origins of Halloween. And why, as the priest just brought up earlier, why God hates Halloween. And you, as the nation of Israel, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, should also hate Halloween. Because we hate what the Lord hates. And we love what the Lord loves. So now, we're going to go over a little history lesson. So this is the ancient origins of Halloween. So it says right here, Halloween's origins date back to the ancient Celtic festival of, it's like I might butcher the name. Is it Samhain? Oh, it's pronounced Samhain. Salakia. Okay, the Samhain. That's how it says it's pronounced. The festival of Samhain or Samhain.
Yeah.
So it says the Celts who lived 2,000 years ago, mostly in the area that is now Ireland. Now, he actually brought us some kind of, not to get too off track, but he brought us something that I didn't even notice. So it says right here, the Celts who lived 2,000 years ago, mostly in the area that is now Ireland. So the Celtic, the Celtics, y'all heard like the Boston Celtics, right?
Right.
You know, the green, the Irish, the four-leaf clover, all that. Like that's them.
That's showing you.
Right. It's crazy,
they're
right?
Telling you.
It's telling you who they are.
You have the Boston Celtics. What is their sigil? Their sigil is the Irish leprechaun.
Yeah, it's that leprechaun, the four-leaf
clover,
with
the clovers. Yeah,
right.
like they're telling you, like this is what the holiday is about. The holiday is about the Celtic people.
That's heavy.
Yeah, that's heavy as hell. You
Right.
got a whole NBA team that's representing Halloween.
Damn, Slovakia. So the Celts who lived 2,000 years ago, mostly in the area that is now Ireland, the United Kingdom and northern France celebrated their new year on November 1st. This day marked the end of summer, the harvest, and the beginning of the dark, cold winter, a time of year that was often associated with human death. Celts or Celts, Slovakia, believe that. So this is what they believe, right? Now, just so we're clear, Ireland, Irish. This is Esau. All right, you get my point. This is a heathen nation, right? So it says right here, Celts believe that on the night before the new year, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. On the night of October 31st, which was, I think it was the Saints' Day, then it turned into Hallows Eve, then Halloween. The name changes, but it's the same thing. You get my point? So on the night of October 31st, they celebrated Salaki. I'm going to butcher the name again. Samhain. Samhain. Salakia. Salakia, if I'm butchering the name. When it was believed that the ghost of the dead returned to earth. In addition to causing trouble and damaging crops, Celts thought that the presence of the otherworldly spirits made it easier for the Druids or Celtic priests, so false prophets, to make predictions about the future. Now, this is where it gets even more ridiculous. For a people entirely dependent on the volatile natural world, their prophecies were an important source of comfort during the long, dark winter. So these are heathen wannabe priests, false prophets, right? So just a quick recap before I continue, so everybody just follows along. So they believed around November 1st, October 31st, right? It was the beginning of the cold, dark winter, right? Now, for anybody who's a farmer, it's kind of hard to grow crops when it's cold, like winter, right? You want to do it in a thriving environment. So their crops were dying. Now, remember, a lot of these Edomites didn't even know how to properly farm their crops or animals or anything like that until Gadites showed them how to do it. But that's going into more like Thanksgiving. We'll save that for another time. But my point being is, this is what they believe. They made this up entirely in their head. So they believed that on October 31st, that the realm of the living and the dead was blurred somehow, and ghosts came up from the ground and ruined their crops. That's what they believe. No, it was the weather. The weather ruined your crops. That's what it was. But they don't see that. So they made up this, right? And they base their entire belief off of their version of a priest. Really a false prophet. I don't even like calling him a priest, honestly. So Salakia.
Okay, so like you said, like the priest was saying, as far as like they base it on their crops, right? So if you really dig down into the history of Roman doctrine, okay, so you have Nimrod, right? Nimrod was a god in the how can I say, the Babylonian culture. Like he was a man at first, and he after his death he became something more than what he was actually of. Like, you know what I mean? First he was he had can I say he was a king? He was Nimrod is like the he's the progenitor of the of Christmas, Easter, what else? Zeus. You know what I mean? Like Zeus, when Zeus origination first started from, you know what I mean, the seasonal god. You know what I mean, that's his origin. That's his origination. I mean, his start off was from being the seasonal god. He was the god that brings up the crops and everything like that. That's where Nimrod started from. So Nimrod is the origination of Zeus and all those Roman customs. You know what I mean? So you have the Celtic people. The Celtic people, they built off of the Roman custom, and there was a I think it was a goddess. Like I gotta figure out her name though. It was a goddess that was a crop goddess. You know what I mean, she was the goddess of springing up the new. It's like the new year. The new year was her springing up the crops. So I gotta get her name, Salakia. I mean, I don't have it right now, but I can definitely look it up when the priest comes back. But she's the originator of the Roman custom of the bringing up the crops, like bringing up the crops and bringing up the bringing up that certain type of situation. So you have that history, and then the Celtic people, they built off of that. They built off of that, and then not just that, they added on to it as far as the dead. There's being a barrier of the dead and the living in one day, which was supposed to be November 1st. That was their new year, right? So, um, I mean, they would dress up as the dead on October 31st. October 31st was called Hallows Eve. I mean, it went from that to Halloween. I mean, but it was at first it was Hallows Eve because November 1st was the actual. I mean, the day of the new year for the Celtics. So they would believe that the dead would rise up. I mean, the dead would pretty much be walking the earth, and there will be a barrier between the living and the dead within pretty much. I mean, the same thing you would say on what is it that that our Iskarites brothers and sisters they have like the Day of the Dead. Lost. God dang it.
Salakia.
Yeah,
I know
it's on the tip of my
it's
tongue.
the Day of the Dead. Though.
Yeah, it's the day. It's the Day of the Dead. We our Iskara brothers and sisters they celebrate the same thing that the Celtic people were celebrating, but it's just on different days. You know what I'm saying? The Day of the Dead that they do is the same thing that the Day of the Dead for the Celtic people at that time period. You know what I'm saying? So they would believe that you know what I mean, like if you got our Iskarite brothers and sisters, they would leave like food and drink and alcohol and stuff like that next to the graveyard in order for the dead to rise up and be able to enjoy those certain type of things. You know what I'm saying? So it was the same thing for the Celtic people. They would appease the dead. You know what I'm saying? They would appease the dead. They would dress up as the dead. They would Montes.
Salakia, the water.
Yeah, yeah, Los Montes. The water, a lot.
The water.
Yeah, yeah, Los Montes. Yeah. So they would appease for the dead. Like it was. They even got a whole movie about it. It's called Coco.
Oh yeah, the animated movie. Yeah,
yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Like it was a barrier between the living and the dead coming at one day out of the year coming together. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the Celtic people they were representing. You know what I'm saying? So in order to understand these type of situations, you need to understand the origin of everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? We already knew. You know what I mean? Even in the world, you know that Halloween was somewhat wicked.
Somewhat.
You don't know. You don't know
look
why.
at it.
Yeah, you don't know why, but you just know it's wicked because you got the movies,
right?
You got the representation, you got the music. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
You got all that stuff. So you knew that Halloween had some type of wickedness to it. You just didn't know why. But here in the ISUPK, we're going to give you the origin of everything because everything has an origin, and not just that. We're going to give you the origin of, you know what I mean, why it's completely illegal for us to even celebrate that type of situation.
Right. We're going to get into that. Slaki, you know if I could, before I continue, I just don't want to like repeat anything you just said. I'll read this last little bit, just a little bit of the history of Hallows Eve or Halloween, just the thing. So we left off a little bit.
Shalom Adawan.
Shalom Christ Adawan. So I know like you was getting heavy like in the history of it. If I could, real quick, just to elaborate a little more, because like the priest said, we're gonna get into why it's wrong for us Israelites, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, why it's wrong for us to celebrate these things, right? So I last read off of so their crops were dying off around this time, October 31st, November 1st, right? Now they believed it was because of spirits and the dead coming through. No, it was winter. It's hard to farm when it's winter. It's common sense. Well, for us anyway.
Fall.
Yeah.
At that time.
Oh, fall, Slagia, but fall, Slagia. But it's like late, like once you get like to November, like you're starting to creep more into like winter-ish season.
Right.
But like we're like you said, we're deep in fall now.
Right.
You know, leaves falling off. You know, everything's dying off. It's kind of hard to farm properly when it's cold as hell outside, Slagia. You know, but so they depended heavily on their Celtic priests or false prophets. So it says, for a people entirely dependent on the volatile natural world, these prophecies were an important source of comfort during the long, dark winter. Now it says to commemorate the event, Druids built huge sacred bonfires. So think of like a sacrificial altar or something like that, right? Where the people gathered to burn crops and animals as sacrifices. I just gave it away to the Celtic deities, false gods. And we already went over multiple times. You can read it in the book of Exodus that the Lord said, there shall be no other gods before me. Plain and simple, right? There's only one God. That's the Most High. That's it. What was it? Zeus, Baal.
Right.
I know, Slag, if I could real quick, I watch a lot of anime and stuff. So Ammon, the so-called Japanese, the Japanese got a god for everything.
Right.
Salakia. They got, I'm just thinking they got what, the Susanoo, they got it was supposed to be like the storm god. They got Son Wukong, who's supposed to be the monkey god who lives in the clouds. That's where you get like Dragon Ball Z and all that other stuff from. It's a lot, Salakia. But false gods, right? So it says, I'll go over that one more time, where the people gathered to burn crops and animals as sacrifices to the Celtic deities. During the celebration, the Celts wore costumes, typically consisting of animal heads and skins, and attempted to tell each other fortunes. When the celebration was over, they relit their hearth fires, which they had extinguished earlier that evening, for the sacred bonfire to help protect them during the coming winter. So this was a heathen practice. Halloween originally is a heathen practice that they just made up. That's just going into a little bit into the history of Halloween. Now, why is this so bad for us? Look at today's day and age. So this is where it originated, right? Like you brought up earlier, Halloween is just devilish. Like, just like look at it. Like you could look. I'm telling you right now. I'm not telling you to go out there and celebrate Halloween and trick or treat. That's not what I'm telling you. But I know there's going to be brothers and sisters. You're going to see in neighborhoods people walking around their costumes, dressing up as famous serial killers and stuff like that. And you brought up something that was really heavy too. Like Esau, you know what's crazy? Esau has a way of showing you who he really is in plain sight, and we just don't even notice it.
Right.
What do we get every single year? Everybody know who Michael Myers is, right? It's like it's the same thing every single time. I'm looking at it like y'all ain't killed this dude yet. Like, why does he keep coming back? But it's all
60 years later.
Exactly. He just but he's still out here.
They got him looking like a damn old crippled man, and he's still out here busting ass on everybody. Like,
but what's the movie called?
Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah,
exactly. It's Halloween. Yeah. And what's it based on? It's based on some satanic serial killer, right? But my whole point is these horror movie monsters, right? Who usually originates them? It's Esau. For those of y'all don't know, Stephen King. Stephen King, he's the maker of It.
Right.
You know, like Pennywise the Clown and all the crazy Stephen King movies. Like it's Esau making this stuff because that's his nature. All right. He's wicked. He's evil. He's devilish. How are all these horror movie monsters? I mean, the only one I can think off the top of my head, I think he's a Judite. He's Candyman. That's about it, you know. But other than that, you don't really hear of like us as like horror movie monsters and villains. But Esau's showing you right there. Every year it's the same thing. Halloween, Michael Myers coming out, killing people. Right. Was it Freddy Krueger, Ghostface from Scream? What's his name? Pinhead from like Hellraiser. Who else?
I mean, it's year round now.
It's year round, but it's the same thing.
The Conjuring.
Yeah, the Conjuring, right?
All that stuff is just like year round now. They want you to be afraid. They want you to spread that. You know what I mean? Because spirits, they eat the unclean spirits. They eat off of fear.
Right. They eat off of that. Yeah, no, what you brought out was heavy.
To be afraid and insecure.
Right. Now, what the priest is bringing out is 100% correct. So the thing is, you could just look at Halloween and see how ridiculous and satanic it is. And to get in a little deeper, trick or treating, right? Trick or treating. I mean, kids go into random people. Like, think about it. Kids go into random people's houses asking for candy, right? Mm-hmm. What they tell you? Well, okay, a good parent would tell their kids this. You know, you hear the saying, don't accept candy from strangers, or don't talk to strangers, don't walk alone, stuff like that, right? But then at the same time, you got kids out here, Slakia, who are going out here to random people's houses asking for candy. Now, I know there's going to be some people that are going to say, well, you know, that's not always true because sometimes the parents go with them. Okay, that's whatever. You shouldn't be doing that anyway. But then there are kids who don't have their parents, mm-hmm. and they're just walking around in their costumes, going to I don't know, somebody's house or whatever, some old pedophile man or whatever, you know, probably not even giving them candy, probably giving them roofies for all we know. We don't know. But you tell your kids not to do one thing, but then you make them practice another. You're putting your children in danger when you do things like that. You get my point? You're exposing them to this. First of all, it's a heathen custom. It's an evil custom. It's a like a demonic, ghoulish custom. Because what do you do every single time during Halloween? Yeah, you got some people that dress up as like, you know, comic book superheroes like Spider-Man or Batman or some stuff. But then you got what we just brought up earlier, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface from Scream, Pinhead, Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, and all. Like, those are mass murderers, serial killers. But we just dress up as them like, oh, hey, what's going on? Having parties, getting drunk. You're in the spirit of Halloween. And some of the craziest stories you hear are during Halloween. You hear of like people, I remember it was at one time, I think it was in Florida too, I'm not surprised. It was somebody that dressed up as a clown, and they were like terrorizing little kids and stuff because they're in the spirit. That's the true spirit of Halloween. Now, the priest brought up something that was real heavy, right? Now we're going to go over the scriptures, right? Why is it wrong for us, Israelites, to practice these heathen customs? If I could I get okay, could you give me Jeremiah chapter 10 verse 1, and I'm going to get Colossians chapter 2 verse 8. Because like what I'm saying right now, okay, it seems it's common sense, right? It's common sense. And I know it seems harmless, right? Oh, you know, we just getting dressed up and we hanging out with, you know, party and stuff. That's the thing with sinning. A lot of times sin comes off in a way of it seems harmless, right? You just do it one time. Like, okay, a big one that's definitely affected our communities, you know, just having sex with whoever and whenever you feel like it, right? We don't know that sex is marriage, or we don't take it seriously. So brothers especially, good night. Brothers are taught at a very young age, like, you know, you gotta get the box. You gotta have sex with this woman, that woman. You're not a man unless you know, have sex with a woman. But then it becomes so embedded in you. It's like, okay, you're gonna have sex with this woman, that woman. And let's be real, a lot of brothers out here, I mean, you shouldn't be doing that anyway, but you're not even wearing condoms, okay? Now you're out here having unprotected sex with random women who you hardly even know. You don't know what she got, but it's just sex, right? It's harmless. Until you get an STD, until you get something that you can't get rid of, until it burns when you pee, or your reproductive system gets messed up. That's the one for the sisters right there, okay? You get my point? It always seems so harmless. So why would Halloween or Christmas or Thanksgiving or any pagan holiday for that matter, why would it seem so harmful? So if I could, I'm going to read the book of Colossians. I'll read this one first. The book of Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men. Now, it says the tradition of men. This is why you got to read the Bible. Because when it says the tradition of men, it's not talking about, that's crazy. Good night. Right. Yeah, man. Hey, but you did it though. Right. But when it says the tradition of men, it's not talking about the Lord's statutes, like our statutes that we follow of the Most High. Men or man is going to heathen men, okay, heathen customs. You could read, before the Most High flooded the earth, it said that the sons of God knew the daughters of men. There's a distinct difference. It didn't say the daughters of the Lord or the daughters of the Most High. It said the sons of God, Israelites, the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, knew the daughters of men, the daughters of heathens, heathen women. So I'm going to go over this again. This is the book of Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. Halloween, Hallows Eve, whatever you want to call it. It's made up. We just read that it's made up. They made it up. They made it up because they thought, oh my goodness, my crops are dying. So it got to be because we're not, the dead is coming from the ground and they're ruining our crops. So we got to pray to the Celtic priest. And they made all that up. It's cold outside. That's why your crops are dying. Common sense. So, and it says, after the tradition of men. Halloween is a Celtic or Celtic, however you want to pronounce it, Irish descent tradition, a heathen nation's tradition. After the tradition of men, and then it says, after the rudiments of the world, okay, North America, everywhere, they have their own pagan holidays, customs and stuff. Don't practice their customs. Don't follow the ways of the heathen. And it says right here, so we start, the rudiments of the world and not after Christ. So you can see that there's a distinct difference between following Christ and following the world, following the traditions of men, following philosophy and vain deceit. Don't follow the ways of the heathen, which is what we're going to get into next, the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1. You got that for me, Baba Kasha?
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Mm-hmm. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Of who?
Of the heathen.
Go ahead.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
Right.
For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree for one cutteth the tree out of the forest. The work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. So you get into the whole situation with, Nimrod and the Christmas.
Right. You
know what I'm saying? They fasten it with nails and with hammers. So yeah. All in all, the real word is just follow not the ways of the heathen, which is, what we're doing to this day. Like our people, we go out of our way to dress up and to appease everything that this nation has given us, which is a bunch of nonsense. They've given us a Celtic Roman custom and we follow it. And not just that, we'll follow it so wholeheartedly that when you give them the truth that you're not supposed to celebrate these things and you're not supposed to follow these things, they will turn against you.
Right.
They'll turn against you to the point where they will want to cause some type of harm to you. You know what I mean? No, you did it's okay. Our people, I wanted to do a class about this too. Our people, we just want to find anything to distract us from the oppression that we have to face day in, day out.
That's heavy.
You know what I'm saying? We need something to distract us. So anything that we can get as far as what they've given us, birthdays, holidays, all that stuff like that, we follow it wholeheartedly because we have nothing else to dwell upon. You know what I'm saying? We have nothing else. We have nothing else. So God dang, during the slavery time, you had, that one particular day. I don't want to say it because I don't want to be wrong, but you had that one particular day where you were able to, take a break, take a break, not have to work. You just be in your house. I think it was Thanksgiving. I don't want to say it because I don't know if that was the particular day.
I'm not sure. So
yeah, I want to be for sure, but don't mark my words on that. But it was a particular day where we were able to stay in the house, you know what I mean, be with our family, you know what I mean, we probably get a meal or something like that, like a nice meal or something like that.
Right.
And we would enjoy that day. And it was a day of rest. You know what I'm saying? And they gave us that and we would celebrate it wholeheartedly. We would look forward to that day throughout the year. And that's us being in slavery at that time period. Right. I don't want to say the freaking day.
Salaki, if I could. So, like the sister got a question. What will happen if you celebrate these man-made holidays? That's a great question. Yeah. So that's crazy. That goes to my next precept. So to answer your question, sis. So when you celebrate man-made holidays, pagan holidays, right? Halloween, Christmas, whatever, right? That's a sin. It's a sin. You know, we're supposed to keep the statutes of high holy days, but celebrating like something like Halloween, giving into the ways of the heathen and stuff like that, you're in the spirit of Halloween, you're going to do things, you're sinning, right? Now, what is sin? Sin is the transgression of the law. It's in the scriptures. And, well, who was given the law? Us, the covenant. I believe it was Leviticus Chapter 21, verse 46, where the Most High is explaining that he gave the covenant to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name was later changed to Israel. You can read that in the book of Genesis, chapter 10, verse 35, where the Most High explains that Jacob's name was changed to Israel, right? So, when you sin, you transgress the law. Now, this goes into my next precept. This is actually Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. So this is the book of Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. So we talk a lot about sin, right? And all of us, we all have. We've all sinned before we come into the truth. Now you have to shed yourself of the world. That's why we talk about, our 30, our 90 days. And, so some people feel like, oh, well, since you sinned, this is a Christian mindset, right? You sin, you can't be saved now, right? You can't be saved. Yes, you can. Repent. You're still alive, breathing today. You still got your bodily functions. You breathe, and you're not dead yet. So the whole thing is. But the whole thing is, Shalom on Christ. That's what's going on. But the whole point is repenting, right? You got to get rid of your old self. Now, when you come into the truth, now you're learning, right? You're learning your actual customs and traditions, the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Now, if there's something that this is the kind of the fuzzy area that some people kind of get confused with. So some people ask, okay, what if you sin but you don't know it? You get my point? Like, what if you come into the truth and let's say you legitimately did not know that there were certain fish that you couldn't eat, and the day before you was just eating a tuna sandwich or something like that, right? But you didn't know. Just like some people don't know that celebrating pagan holidays is sin. So I'm going to read the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 26. For if we sin willfully after that we have received the knowledge of the truth. So now you're learning, right? You're learning that you're not supposed to celebrate man-made holidays. You're not supposed to celebrate pagan holidays, Halloween, Hallows Eve, whatever you want to call it, right? We just went into the history of, we'll actually read a little bit more after this. The history is it's a Celtic tradition or something that they made up, right? It has absolutely nothing to do with this. It's a heathen practice.
Roman, Roman.
Yeah, it's Roman, right? Yeah. So it says right here, for if we sin, Salakia, willfully after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. So now it's like, okay, you know better. Like, for example, okay, for my brothers and sisters that got children, let's say you got a child and you don't teach a child that they're not supposed to. All right, you got it.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Say you have a child and you don't teach your child the customs of what what the Most High wants you to celebrate, or wants you to, what high holy days He wants you to acknowledge. Like, if you have a child and you're um if you're indulging into heathen customs, you know what I mean, pretty much I can say that you're just pretty much leading a a train of, how can I say, like it just it like the it would never get to it would never get into a position where we can be able to serve the Most High wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we keep on following the traditions that we are brought upon us. You know what I'm saying? As far as a heathen custom, you know what I'm saying? The heathen custom has led us into being under oppression, under heathens, under dogs, as Christ would describe them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we are literally under dogs right now, and it's because we want to follow. Okay, so Lucky, if I may, real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you know what I mean. The Most High, He compares us to to marriage. Like, he's married on to Israel and Judah. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about that, like, okay, when you think about like a perspective of women at this time period. I mean, you can give them everything in the world and they still won't be satisfied. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't really know what they want.
That sounds like us.
They don't know, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they don't know
right.
what they want, and they don't know what they need. So if you compare it to us, as far as like what we have, like the Lord, he let us out of Egypt. He got us out of captivity, the same captivity that we dealing with today. You know what I mean? He got us out of that captivity, and probably that captivity was probably even worse. You know what I mean? It probably was worse, or it probably wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? But at the end of the day, the Lord got us out of captivity already. He let us out of captivity. He split a whole sea. You know what I'm saying? He split a whole sea. He caused 10 plagues to happen that were like, you know what I mean, something that the world has never seen before. He caused these things to happen. He led us out of captivity. And at the end of the day, we still were not satisfied. So it's like, you know what I mean? You can give a woman, you can give a woman the earth. You can give the woman the earth, and she'll be like, why didn't you give me the sun and the stars? You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, we were given the earth. We were given the earth, and we were given the earth to be people who rule the earth and rule over all these nations. But still, we still were looking for what Egypt was. They not looking at the earth. They looking at the sun and the stars, and they're fascinated within those things. Why we don't have those things? You know what I'm saying? So it's the same. It's the same thing with the Lord, pretty much comparing us to a being married onto us,
Right?
Because you can give your spouse everything in the world, but at the end of the day, will that satisfy them? Because, yeah, well, I gave you the earth, but you still looking at the sun and the stars. Like, you want the sun and the stars, and that's what we wanted. We wanted what the Egyptians wanted. The Egyptians were all into that astrology and all that stuff like that. They were looking at the sun and the stars, and we were fascinated by that. Even though we had the earth and we were able to, you know what I mean, during the time of King David and all that stuff like that, we ruled this place. You know what I'm saying? Right. We ruled. We were the top kingdom, but at the end of the day, we still wanted more. You know what I'm saying? We still wanted more. And that's that metaphor of the Most High comparing us to being married onto us is completely true, because that's what the marriages that you see to this day. Like, you can give somebody everything, and at the end of the day, they still are not appeased by what they have. You know what I'm saying?
What was it? It said that we like you said, we were married unto the Most High, and we played the harlot.
Exactly.
That's what it was. We played the harlot.
We still wanted more. Yeah, right, we still wanted something. We still fell into our own lust, and we still wanted something more. And we got to look at it like how that is happening right now.
Right.
People are sitting over here going out celebrating Halloween because they feel like it's something to distract them from the lifestyle that they live today. But you not knowing and you being unlearned that you are celebrating this particular thing is what is the reason why you are even having to deal with that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's the reason why you are having to deal with hell day in and day out because you want to get up and you want to celebrate and you want to dress your kids up. Well, okay, so Captain Gadalhar was getting into something deep as far as you know. What I mean, the scripture was saying like you know. What I mean, they give their sons as a God dang. They give their sons unto like they give their sons. God dang it! It's like they were prostituting their own children. You know what I'm saying? And they gave their daughters up for wine. You know what I'm saying? And so like I gotta get that scripture. It's in my notes, but you know what I mean, like we are giving up our children for a sacrifice because we are following a heathen custom and we don't even know because we think that we're doing something that is good for them, but only because we have so little that we think that that's something to cherish.
That's so heavy. If I could, real quick, I don't want to cut you off, but what the priest is bringing out is so heavy because he's exactly right. Like these pagan holidays, like dressing up your kids and putting them in costumes and bringing them out, and you think you're doing something good for them because, like, I get it. Like as a parent, you want to see your child happy, right? Especially us. Like we've been oppressed for over 400, almost 500 years, even to this day.
Right.
And still brothers and sisters today like, oh, we're not oppressed. Yes, we are. Like I could open the door and go look out in San Bernardino right now and be like, yup, Israel is oppressed. you could look, I could just look right now and be like, yup. I could look to the left of me and I'm like, yup, there goes a brother right there sleeping on the sidewalk. He ain't got nothing. There's another brother in there digging in the trash can. There's a sister over there smoking a crack pipe, literally walking down the street. Like, yeah, okay, but we're not oppressed, right? But we are. So it's like any little bit of happiness that we can get, we cling on to it. Yeah, and to go a little bit more, I hope this answers your question, sis, about celebrating the man-made holidays. What the priest was bringing out was heavy as far as you can't play both fields. Like you can't serve the Lord and still be a part of the world. Right. And if I could real quick, I'm gonna just read a quick precept. This is 1 Corinthians chapter Salakia. What is it? Chapter 10, verse 21. So this is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 21. Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of the devils. You can't play both fields. We refer to Esau as the devil that the Bible speaks of, right? So if you want to take this literally, Esau, a heathen nation, the oppressor himself, this is his holiday. You can't be partaking in his practices and serving the Lord. Either you're going to be all in or you're going to be all out. Right. If I could, actually, could you give me Matthew chapter 10? Oh, sorry, Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. But to go more into it, yeah, you can't play both fields. You can't, because you got to think about it. Well, like why would you even want to celebrate man-made holidays? Like once you actually go into the history, like okay, something simple, birthdays. A lot of people, again, we were talking about how a lot of these holidays, they seem, what's the word I'm looking for? Harmless. They seem harmless, right? Like they don't really, like what's a birthday gonna do to me? You mean tell me I'm sinning because I'm lighting up a candle and eating birthday cake and it looks so nice, right? It looks so innocent. A lot of people don't understand that the origins of birthdays was people who partook in satanic rituals, and they believe themselves as gods. So that's actually just a little bit of the history of where birthdays actually came from. They worshiped themselves as something higher than the Most High. There's a reason why we refer to God as the Most High, because there's nobody above him. So when you celebrate a birthday, you might not realize it, but what you're actually partaking in, the actual tradition of you're worshiping yourself as something above which you are. You can go into Thanksgiving. I mean, good night. We could talk all day about Thanksgiving, but we'll save that for a whole other class. Right. The damn near a genocide of so-called Native Indians. You know, the 100 million that they killing off the bison. You know, kidnapping the children, molesting them, forcing Christianity, taking away their native language. The what was it? 1,100 Taino. It was Taino and Arawak Indians that they took, the northern tribe, right? The northern tribe, and they took them on slave ships, and it was 800. It was 800. 800 of them actually passed away. So there were only 300 that were left on the slave ship. This actually took place in the transatlantic slave trade. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know that SUBCRIBEs, the so-called Mexicans, Native Indians, they call them Tainos. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this, but Tainos, I believe, are now called the Puerto Ricans. I believe. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But my point being is Israel, right? A lot of people just think Judah. Like when people say Israelite, they usually tend more towards like the southern tribe, like Levi, Benjamin, Judah, like darker skinned brothers like me, like myself and the brother next to me. So when they say, you know, Mexicans or Salvadorians or Puerto Ricans or natives, you know, because typically usually they are of a lighter complexion, some people like to say, oh no, they're not Israel, or you know, they're not black, they're not one of us. Little do you know that before Judites were put on that slave ship, it was actually Gadites. That's just going a little bit to the history of Thanksgiving. But to get back on the topic of the pagan holidays, you know, you can't play both fields. You got Matthew chapter 6, verse 24.
The book of Matthew chapter 6 and verse 24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other.
Right.
He cannot serve God and mammon.
You can't play both fields. You just can't. It's impossible. So you can't be in the truth. Actually, no, let me rephrase that. You can't have the truth in you. There's a difference from being in the truth and having the truth in you. I pray you understand.
Right.
And still be a partaker of the customs of the world. Because the world, they eat pork. They eat shrimp. They, you know, worship the Virgin Mary, and they believe Christ is some white man, and they believe like Halloween. They believed it was because goblins and ghouls were coming from the ground, like the dead, and they were destroying their crops. No, it's cold outside.
Huh.
Like I'm just like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, y'all really thought ghouls were like ghosts were coming from the ground and destroying your crops. You didn't think like, oh, maybe it's cold outside. You know, the leaves are falling and it's cold. You know, maybe that's why my crops aren't thriving. You know, when it's warmer outside, you can farm just fine.
That just shows you the intelligence level. Like a lot of people try to make it seem like, oh yeah, well, the white man wrote the Bible. I mean, the white man thought that the beginning of the year was in the fall.
Exactly. Know what I'm saying?
Like you got to think about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you think that he wrote all of this knowledge and this culture that people try to follow wholeheartedly and make all these different doctrines out of, like, because there's life within the words of it. You know what I mean? You think that he did something this deep to the point where, you know what I mean, like everybody follows it, and well, everybody tries to follow it at this time period. You know what I mean? Like, you think he made something that deep? He thought that the beginning of the year was in the fall when everything dies. Everything dies, and then you go. Then not just that, you go to the winter, and then you go to the spring. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't like, spring supposed to like? Right. That's when everything blooms and like, the animals come back.
The Bible literally teaches you that the beginning of the year is when the spring starts. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's when the beginning of the year starts, because it's rebuilding. It's a new building of something. You know what I mean? Like, it's new plants, it's new everything. The winter kills it all, and the spring brings it all back. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So the Bible was smart enough to even know that spring is the beginning of the year. They were so off that they thought that it was the fall that was the beginning of the year.
How is it the beginning? Like, oh my goodness! Like, oh my gosh! Slack it.
Right.
What you're bringing out is so heavy. Like, this is just all the more reason. Like, don't follow heathen customs,
Right.
especially. Oh my God. I mean, they're all wrong. But Esau himself, like the intelligence level, like you just said, like they couldn't figure out because it was cold outside. That's why their crops were dying.
Right.
And they thought the beginning of the year was when everything dies off. Like fall, like you go outside, like the trees, the leaves are dying off. They fall to the ground. Like fall don't look too lively.
Right.
You know, you see like, you know, the colors and stuff for a little bit. But once everything dies off, the trees look dead damn near.
It don't look like the beginning of nothing.
Exactly.
It looks like the end of everything.
Yeah, the end of everything. And then winter follows right after it. Now it's cold as hell outside.
Right.
But then what comes after winter? Spring. Then the flowers start blooming again. The animals start coming out, the birds. And like now everything's looking a lot more lively. It looks like the beginning of like the act. That's the, I don't want to say New Year because, you know, that's New Year's that's something. I mean, even to go into that, when's New Year's?
I think, you know why it was the beginning to them? It's because that's when the bears were, because they was in those damn caves in the mountains. So that's when them bears hibernated. So they was able to come out and actually, you know what I mean, try to harvest whatever they needed to harvest and bring in the food that they needed, because there wasn't no bears out there to go eat their asses up as soon as they step out of them damn caves. Like, you know what I mean? That's why it was the beginning for them, because that was their habit. That was their habitat. That was their habitation. You know what I'm saying? They were in the caves. They were up in the mountains. So the start off of the year for them was the fall, because that's where they habitate at. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? That's where they can come out and collect what they need to collect, and every animal, every predator is on hibernation and chilling, and they just sleeping for the rest of the season. You know what I mean? So they ain't got to worry about being hunted while they sitting over here being collectors. You know what I'm saying? That's what it really was. That's why the fall and the winter is the beginning of their year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but just right. Yeah, pretty much what you said. I mean, you pretty much hit it on the nail. Like, don't follow the ways of the heathen. Like, right. Just don't do it. Don't especially don't follow Esau, man. Esau is an idiot. Like, be grateful that you're an Israelite and that the law and that the ways of the Most High were shown onto you, because I'm telling you, I know there's somebody that's gonna do it. Somebody's gonna watch this video and be like, and then they still gonna celebrate Halloween tomorrow, right, because the kids want to celebrate Halloween. Grow a backbone, okay? Stop partaking in these heathen customs. Right. We didn't even have time to go into the rest of the history, because like you brought up earlier, the Romans, I believe is in 43 AD, when the Roman Empire actually took over. I keep butchering the name, Samhain or Samian, whatever it is. But the Celtic, whatever you want to call them, I don't even know what they call them, but the Roman Empire ended up taking them over, and there was a matter of fact. I gotta read it real quick before we close the class.
And if I may too, you know what I mean, Anton LaVey, you know what I'm saying? Anton LaVey, he was the creator of the Satan Church. You know what I'm saying? He was saying, like, you know what I mean, he's happy that at least one day out of the year Christians can celebrate serving Satan. You know what I'm saying?
Heavy. Jeez, so, I remember that too.
Yeah, so
damn,
you got, you know what I mean. So like Officer Thurborn, he was getting into that. You know what I mean, on the One Breast Radio, like, I mean, like, he is the creator of the synagogue of Satan. Now, I wouldn't say the synagogue, but the Church of Satan. You know what I'm saying?
Church of Satan.
The Church of Satan, and he says himself, because you know, churches pushed that Halloween should be celebrated. You know what I mean? Christian churches push that Halloween should be celebrated. You know what I mean? They're the ones that brought that out. You know what I mean? Like, Halloween should be celebrated. But, I mean, the heathens, they look at it like it's just like another day out of the year that they can come up on, you know what I mean? Because their holidays to them are just days where they can replenish the money that they lost, as far as, like, if they lost anything. You know what I'm saying? Usually they haven't lost anything.
Right.
It's just a day where they know that they're going to make a certain particular amount of money. That's why everywhere you walk at, every store that you walk in, you're going to see some type of Halloween decoration. There's everywhere that you go, you're going to see some type of Halloween music. They want you to celebrate these type of things, because At the end of the day, you're going to spend money on it. Money is everything to them. Money is everything to a heathen. They dwell and they praise it. They pray to it. They pray to money. You know what I'm saying? And they need it. They their whole gain is through what their whole money system. You know what I'm saying? That's their God. Is their money system. And the reason why the heathen dwells, the reason why the heathen is so above us so much is because we sit over here and we linger off of their money system, not knowing that really money is nothing. It's just a piece of paper. Yeah. It's just a piece of paper that tells you that you are solidified. Really, it's just everybody's perspective of how they see you. If you sit there and you say, I got $1 billion, everybody's going to look at you like you are somebody important. Why? Because you have something that the heathen dwells off of and they worship. So you being a billionaire, everybody's going, like if Kanye was to walk through the door right now, we wouldn't give a damn. Who cares? But if he was to walk through across the street at the store, everybody's gonna, oh, Kanye, like, can I get an autograph? Can I get, you know what I mean? Can you touch me? Can you shake my hand? Like,
nah, for real.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they do that.
Because money is everything to them. They pray that really, you know what I mean? They worship Satan. They worship the devil. The devil is the deceiver, which is the heathen, and which is, you know what I mean, our so-called oppressors or our oppressors today. So people praise them, and what they praising is what our heathens praise, which is money, a piece of paper. You know what I mean, equity is everything to them, so it's everything to us, and that's why we celebrate Halloween, because our oppressors do it. You know what I mean? Our oppressors tell us that it's okay to do it. And if they told us that, if they sat there and went on the news and said Halloween is canceled, we're never going to celebrate Halloween again.
Oh, people would riot.
People would stop celebrating Halloween.
People would riot.
Nah, real talk.
They would riot.
Everything that our oppressors do, we follow it. You know what I mean? We follow it wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? They'll tell us that, you know what I mean, a man that's dressed up as a woman is a woman.
Good night.
You know what I mean? And we'll sit there and say, oh yeah, well, she this and she that and she, no, that is a he this and he that. Why? Because that is biologically what he was raised as. But because we serve our oppressors so much, we will sit there and say that, oh yeah, well, if you say that a man dressed up as a woman and he got full-blown rod and balls hanging out of his damn skirt, and he says that he's a woman, we're gonna call her a she. We're just gonna call her a she. Like, you got to think about the mentality. Like, just go back to the 90s for a second. You know what I mean? Go back to the 90s for a second and just think, like, we would have never thought that this would even be possible. A person, like, saying that they're a different, like, literally, it got so bad to the point where people are calling themselves unicorns. They're calling themselves, you know what I mean? Anything. They
call them non-binary people.
Non-binary. I'm not even a gender. I'm not nothing.
You're just it.
I'm not a sexual being at all. I don't sleep with people. I just want to be who I am. But if you think about it, it's just like, so how are you procreating? What is your life standing? What is your goal in life? Like, what are you to become? How do you guys even regenerate? You know what I'm saying? Like, they have no answers to nothing. They need people who are actually comfortable with their genders. I'm a woman and I'm a man, in order to be able to procreate. You know what I mean? Like, right. Okay, so I mean, I think General Hyman was getting into it, like, as far as like how homosexuality is procreated, and they need to procreate it through trauma.
Right. You
have to traumatize the child in order to get that child to be raised up to be homosexual, or you have to what is the word I'm looking for? You have to teach them the ways of what you do in order to get them to be raised up. It's still trauma, though. It's all trauma. You have to child molest them. You got to do something. Like, child molestation is the procreation of homosexuality. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You gotta molest a child in order to get that child to be raised up to be homosexual. You know what I'm saying? And that is so heavy, like, because homosexuality is a way of the heathen. The heathen loves homosexuality. our heathen the heathens love homosexuality. Our oppressors love homosexuality. That's why they push it so much on us. You know what I mean? They push it to our children. They got little Nas X and Sesame Street and all that stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? He needs to push it on the kids because that's the only way that you're gonna push it on people is to get to push a doctrine on our kids. But it's like I don't want to get too deep into that, but you know what I mean, what we're talking about is just like as far as you know what I mean, beware of your oppressors. Like beware of what your oppressors' doctrines is because they're going to teach you everything that is against your culture. They will even push that on their own people just to get you to follow it. You know what I mean? Like they'll push all that like because ain't nobody more homosexual than Edom. You know what I'm saying?
Boy.
Ain't nobody more homosexual than Edom because they will push that on their own people just to get us to follow it. You know what I mean? And they don't care. As long as we're doing it, they'll always be on top. You know what I'm saying? So we have to beware of our oppressors and beware of the tactics that they push on us. As far as the same thing with Halloween. Halloween is a heathen culture. It's a heathen custom. God hates it. He hates it. He hates us serving anything other than what we're supposed to serve in this Bible.
Salakia, if I could, just to, right before we close the class, because what you're bringing out is so heavy as far as like, you know, it's a tactic, like you said, right? So, and we brought up something heavy earlier about like the money. So, this is actually a fact on history.com. This is going into the history of Halloween. It says, did you know 1/4 of all the candy sold annually in the U.S. is purchased for Halloween? That's where they make majority of their income for their candy. It's Halloween. Because like you said, you see it all throughout the stores. And to get a little bit into like the Roman Empire, so it says, by 43 AD, the Roman Empire had conquered the majority of Celtic territory. In the course of the 400 years that they ruled in Celtic lands, 2 festivals of Roman origin were combined with the traditional Celtic celebration of, I'm going to get this word right someday, Salakia, Samhain or Sahain. The first was Feralia, a day in late October where the Romans traditionally commemorated the passing of the dead. The second was a day of honor to honor the Pomona. Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit and trees, a false god. There you go, a goddess at that. The symbol of Pomona is the apple. Here's a little fun fact for y'all. And the incorporation of this celebration into the Samhain probably explains the tradition of the bobbing of the apples that is practiced today on Halloween. So that like the caramel apples and all that, the bobbing of the apples, like that big what is it, like that big crate and like the water and all the apples in it where you dive in and bite it.
Oh yeah, bobbing for apples.
That's what it is, bobbing for apples. That's actually a practice that they worship. Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit.
That's
and
her name, Pomona. Yes. Yeah. God dang it. Yes.
Yeah, but that's what it's modeled after. Going more into that's a Roman practice,
right?
Esau. You get my point? But just want to touch on that before we close the class.
You hit. Because I knew I knew it was.
I had a feeling that's what
Pomona,
you were getting.
Yeah,
Salagi.
Pomona over here, the city and shit. Well, I mean, shoot. Yeah, you got it. Definitely.
Before we anybody got any questions on there?
Well, yeah, it is a question. It says, "What high holy day is next?"
What high? I believe it's November 28th.
Right? Yeah, 28th.
And matter of fact, no, I think I got it. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Yeah, it's November 28th for sure.
I know I got it. Salaki. I should know it off the top of my head, but where is it?
Right there.
Did I pass it? Oh, right here. Right. The Feast of Salakia. Hold on. Good night. Hold on. It's not.
You got past it. I seen it.
I did. Oh, here it
is. Right there, yeah.
The Feast of Dedication. Sunday, November 28th.
Right.
There you go. Okay.
So the Feast of Dedication is on Sunday, November 28th. That's the next high holy day. those are the days that the Most High actually wants us to feast upon. You know what I mean, and celebrate. You know what I'm saying?
So
This day, today and tomorrow. First of all, tonight is whole night. It's yes, last night was whole night, and tonight is whole night. It's for all the single mamas to get in these little skippiest clothes that they can. You know what I'm saying? It's not even for the kids no more.
It's not.
You know what I'm saying? This is for.
It's an excuse to look like a whore.
Exactly. It's an
exactly
excuse.
What it is.
I literally like social media just needs to be done with because women are really disgracing themselves. Like you see women just literally in all naked, just in pretty much just all body paint and a damn jack o' lantern on like that's it. You know what I mean? Like it's an excuse for you to be a whore. This is not Halloween weekend for children. This is Halloween weekend for adults. And they're going to go out, dress up the way they want to. They're gonna get drunk and whore themselves out, get high, get like hopefully this is the last Halloween. I pray to the most high that this is the last Halloween that they get to serve. You know what I'm saying? Like hopefully this is the last one because this is not a Halloween for children. They don't give a damn about the kids. It's sad enough that the kids are all like I seen a whole bunch of kids dressed up on Friday, you know what I'm saying? Like just all dressed up in their whole little like even kids like a kid dressed up like Pennywise. Like it makes no sense.
Nah.
You're dressed up like Pennywise eats children.
Yeah,
like it makes no sense.
Yeah, right.
Pennywise eats children. He's a clown that eats children, and you're dressed up as Pennywise. It makes no. It's the stupidest shit ever. I'm sorry, Salakia, but you know what I mean. The kids had their day Friday. They're gonna have their day Sunday. They're gonna have their day on Sunday where the parents walk them around and show them how important candy is to them. They're gonna show you what you need to do. You're gonna walk miles and you're gonna go to every house and beg for candy. And that's how important candy is to you. So the next time your teacher wants to offer you candy and shows you where you're supposed to grab the candy at will be behind his zipper. You know what I mean? The kid's gonna go for it and he's gonna go grab that chocolate bar behind that damn teacher's zipper because you showed them how important candy is. You walked miles, you dressed up, you got dressed for hours, and you showed them that, oh yeah, you're supposed to walk and you're supposed to do all this just for candy. So the next time your teacher wants to molest you, let him molest you. Just get that damn candy. Get that candy. You know what I'm saying? And when he gives you that candy, that's what you work for. You got your reward. You know what I'm saying? You got that candy. And that's what Halloween is teaching our kids today. You know what I'm saying? Get dressed up, go out of your way, walk miles and miles and miles to get as much candy as you can. So the next time you go into class, and your teacher wants to get his rocks off real quick or her rocks off real quick, go ahead and do whatever they want to because they got some candy for you at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you're supposed to do. So at the end of the day, heathens custom is wicked. It has a background. If you are celebrating Halloween, you are celebrating a heathen custom, and you're celebrating a deceiver's tradition. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know, and you're too damn stupid to even know your own damn tradition, which is like you know what I mean. Even like it's people getting dressed up going to church on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? People are going dressed up to church on Sunday. Like you got to understand how wicked our mindsets are.
Somebody's Christian pastor is dressing up right now.
Yeah, he gonna go dressed up as a damn
and he gonna preach
in a costume.
Salaki.
You know what I'm saying?
Base of the class, don't celebrate Halloween. Just don't do it.
Like,
just don't do it.
That's the equalizer of this whole situation. Like, you know what I mean? We can go all day with it. Salaki says, go ahead.
Somebody be there with her for school and stuff. So she's staying with me right now. But I'm teach her in that way, even though her mom know about the truth. Like you said, you can know the truth, but you don't win.
Right.
And she know all this, but I have to keep up with my granddaughter, keep telling her because it's like leaving my house and then going there, because she do, but they be doing. They think I don't know, they be doing little birthday parties like that. But anyway, when I told her, because I usually just keep her out of school on these kind of days. Like Friday was, they're gonna have parade and all that at the school. So when she came home, you know, because I usually they go in another class, so they have classes where people don't celebrate, so they send their class, but they still in there coloring pumpkins and, you know.
Right.
So it really, you know, I'm like, what? But when she came home Thursday, she said, Nana, I told the teacher that me and my grandma, we don't celebrate holidays. Okay. And she said, the teacher said, well, it's not like really a holiday. I said, honey, did he do that? She said, yeah, Mom, he went, yeah, Nana, he went, well, it's not like really, you know, just really.
Tried to,
yeah. I said, what that Bouncer wants you to think where you can celebrate. I said, because he wants you to celebrate.
Exactly. Right, that's exactly.
He wants you to celebrate. Yep. You know, that's their job, you know. I said, he wants you, but when she was like, I'm like, did he? She said, yeah, Nana. You're like, well, it's not, you know, just like a white man, you know, with a little
man.
You know. I was just like, oh my goodness.
Man, hey, Most High in Christ to use this for teaching them that. For real.
Yeah.
Man.
We would never expect it. We just follow the trend. We follow what everybody else is doing. You know what I'm saying? And it's more appeasing to us because everybody's doing it. You know what I mean? So, but if it came a situation where everybody just said, you know what I mean, oh, we can't, cancel culture is Halloween, we don't follow that. You know what I mean? And that's just because that's just how we are. We want to appease everybody, and that's what we need to step up out of. That's lucky.
But hope that answered everybody's question. The water for that too, sis. Hope that answered everybody's question. Yeah, nobody else got any more questions.
No, we good.
So with that, we're gonna close the class. So Amijim, just me and the brother up here.
La Yasharala.
Men of Israel, gird up thy loins, prepare to salute the Torah.
How about Shem Yahushabra? Yeah.
Yah B'Shem Yahushabra. Yeah. Amadim Apwan Yahakwadam, which means to stand and face the east. We'll be getting started with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. This is the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Hayah. Shamka. Yahweh. Malak with Ka. Taba'ah. Batazaka. Hayah. Aisha. Ba'arataza. Kawa. Hayah. Bashamayim. Latanyanawa. Lakam. Call. Yawam. Wasalak now. Kamawath now. Kasalak now. Kamawathi now. Wala'ah. Tabayah now. Badasaiwan. A ball. Hawashai now. Mayun. Ride. Kaya. Laka. Hamalakwa. Hala. Watapara. Awalumyam. Amun. The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it. Hakak, which is the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
Babakashah.
Babakashah.
Bathanyanawa.
Bathanyanawa.
Hakat.
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 Larapa'ah.
Lapra'ah.
Call.
Call.
Makala.
Makala.
Wakal.
Wakal.
Madawa.
Madawa.
Hakat.
Hakat.
Latahar.
Latahar.
Ha.
Ha.
Matazariah.
Matazariah.
Hakat.
Hakat.
Lahaquayim.
Lahaquayim.
Hamathiam.
Hamathiam.
Hakat.
Hakat.
Ayel.
Ayel.
Rakawah.
Lakara.
Hatama'ala.
Hatama'ala.
Garashum.
Garashum.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
The water.
The water.
Aman.
Hakak, the power in the English. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushai.
In the name of Yahushai.
Please.
Please.
Give us the power.
Give us the power.
The power to heal.
The power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
All manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean spirits.
To cast them out.
To cast them out.
In the name of Yahushai.
In the name of Yahushai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it. Okay.
This is Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayenya, All, Haharyim, Mayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa'aratazah, All, Yathan, Lamawat, Lagalka, All, Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yashon, Shawamar, Yasharala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Ayab, Yimka, Yawam, Ashamash, La'ah, Yakakak, Wa'arath, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal, Rai, Yashamar, Atnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'athka, Abka, Ma'itha, Wa'ai, Abulam. Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills. I will lift up my eyes into the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from the Lord.
My help cometh from the Lord.
Which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee.
He that keepeth thee.
Will not slumber.
Will not slumber.
Behold.
Behold.
He that keepeth Israel.
He that keepeth Israel.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade.
The Lord is thy shade.
Upon thy right hand.
Upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
Nor the moon by night.
Nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee.
The Lord shall preserve
from
thee.
all evil.
All evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out.
And thy coming in.
And thy coming in.
From this time forth.
This time forth.
And even forevermore.
And even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim. All. Damaya. Laka. All. Dakarash. All. Dashakwat. All. Kaya. Hana. Yebika. Yahama. Yawan. Ra'ash. Ayel. Amaka. Ya'ayamwa. Sawada. Waita. Tazawa. Ayel. Tazapawanka. Amarwa. Lakawa. Kakidum. Magalia. Wala'ah. Yazakar. Shum. Yasharala. Abada. Kaya. Yatazawa. Laba. Yakadwa. Ayaka. Baryath. Yakarathwa. Ahaya. Ahaya. Adawam. Wa. Yashamai. Alayam. Abba. Wahagarium. Gabal. Wayamawan. Wayamalak. Halashad. Am Yeshabia. Tazawar. Gum. Ashawar. Nalawa. Imam. Hawa. Zarawai. Labanya. Lawat. Salah. Aisha. Laham. Kamadim. Kasaya. Sara'ah. Kayabyam. Manakal. Yashwam. Yashabawa. Bayan. Dawa. Hawa. Daman. La'ah. Dama. Shayatama. Nada. Yamawa. Kaira. Kaza'aba. Kazabat. Katazal. Manai. Kol. Nasinakama. Ashar. Amarwa. Narasha. Nawa. Af. Nawath. Alahaya. Shayatama. Gogala. Kakwash. Lapanya. Rawaka. Ka'ash. Taba'ira. Ya'ira. Wa. Kalahaba. Dalahat. Ahaya. Kan.
Taradama, Basarika, Wabasar, Wapatka, Abalam, Malaam, Palayam, Palawan, Waya, Kashwa, Shamka, Yahweh, Yabashwa, Yaya, Bahawa, Ayai, Waya, Kapalwa, Waya, Abadwa, Waya, Dawa, Kaya, Atta, Shamka, Yahweh, Labatka, Iwan, Al, Call, Haratza. Psalms 83 in the English. Keep not thy silence, O God.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
And hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
And be not still.
For lo. Oh, Salakia. For Salakia. And be not still, O God.
And be not still, O God.
For lo.
For lo.
Thine enemies make a tumult.
Thine enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee. Have lifted up the head.
Have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel.
Against thy people. And consulted. Against thy hidden ones. They have said. Come. And let us cut them off. From being a nation. At the name of Israel. Maybe no more remembrance. For they have consulted together. With one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom. And the Ishmaelites. Of Moab. And the Hagarenes. Gabal. And Ammon. And Amalek. The Philistines. With the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them. As unto the Midianites. As to Sisera. As to Jabin. At the brook of Kasan. Which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb. And like Zaid. Yea. All their princes as Abad. And as Almunah. Who said, let us take to ourselves. The houses of God in possession. Oh my God. Make them like a wheel. As a stubble before the wind. As a fire burneth a wood. And as a flame set the mountains on fire. So persecute them. With thy tempest. And make them afraid. With thy storm. Fill their faces with shame. That they may seek thy name. O Lord. Let them be confounded. And troubled. Forever. Yea. Let them be put to shame. And perish. That men may know. That thou. Whose name alone. Is Yahweh. Art the most high. Over all the earth. That's my damn voice. Shalom, Israel.